Well, since the beginning of time, human beings have had this deep desire to look at others, to know what's happening in other people's lives. We constantly compare ourselves with coworkers, neighbors, or old friends from school, wondering who's doing better or worse. It's almost as if we're always searching for someone to compare ourselves with, just to feel either superior or to justify our situation by saying they just got lucky. But as Morgan Housel says in The Psychology of Money, the social comparison ladder is so high that no one can ever reach the top. In other words, it's a battle you can't win. Because as long as you play the comparison game, you'll always find someone who seems to be doing better than you, at work, school, in your neighborhood, or even in your own family. And that feeling of being behind never goes away. And of course, social comparison isn't limited to the people around you anymore. With social media, it's on steroids. Today, you open Instagram and instantly see someone your age driving a brand new car or dining at a fancy sushi restaurant. You scroll, and everything looks perfect, but what we see online is just a highlight reel. Nobody posts a picture of their car captioned, "Just financed this baby for 5 years." Nobody posts a sushi dinner saying, "Enjoying this meal on credit. I'll figure out how to pay later." Of course, there are people who spend consciously and responsibly. But statistically speaking, most people aren't financially educated. So, don't assume social media reflects real life, because it doesn't. The problem is that once people see all this, they want to join the same game. They start going to expensive restaurants just to post about it, buying things they can't afford, and financing them for years, all to look like they're not falling behind. And that's where the real danger of social comparison begins. You end up spending money just to keep up appearances instead of investing in your future or building real wealth. Because the truth is, spending money to look rich might make you feel rich for a short time. But in reality, it's exactly what makes you poorer. The cycle never ends. Once you buy something, there's always a newer, shinier version waiting. So instead of tying happiness to consumer goods, start thinking about your real-life goals. Financial peace and stability are far more valuable than social status. To make this clearer, let's take a simple example. Who's better off financially? Someone with the latest iPhone, paying it off over 3 years, or someone using a 2021 model and with $2,000 saved? Most people will say the one with a new phone looks richer. But that's just surface-level thinking. The second person has real security, money in the bank, peace of mind, even if nobody notices. People see two different phones, but don't see the reality behind them. One person is in debt, the other is financially stable. And that's the big illusion of status. Now, there's nothing wrong with buying new things, as long as you can truly afford them. If you have an emergency fund and solid investments, go ahead. But if you're buying things just to impress others, while paying in installments for years with nothing saved, you're digging your own hole. Like Dave Ramsey says in his book, The Total Money Makeover, you have to choose between looking good and being good. Looking good impresses broke friends. Being good means actually having money. And that's the truth, no matter how harsh it sounds. So instead of worrying about looking successful with new cars, new phones, or flashy vacations, focus on what actually builds success: saving, investing, and growing your net worth over time. Let's take another example. Two people earn the same, $10,000 a month. One drives a $40,000 car, fully financed for 5 years, and spends every penny. The other drives a $6,000 used car, paid in full, and has $40,000 invested. Who's better off? From the outside, everyone will say the one with the expensive car. But the truth? The person with the modest car sleeps better, because they have security. Like the saying goes, those who save today sleep peacefully tomorrow. So it's really your choice. Do you want financial peace or social status? Do you want a reliable emergency fund that gives you freedom, or a shiny new car that keeps you trapped in debt until 2030? And just to be clear, I'm not saying you can't have nice things. You're not obligated to drive an old car or live frugally forever. What I'm talking about is that constant desire people have to look rich, even if it means drowning in debt. Warren Buffett once said, "Only when the tide goes out do you discover who's been swimming naked." Meaning, when the economy gets tough, those who didn't prepare financially are exposed. That's why it's so important to have solid foundation, savings, investments, and a clear plan. And that's why I always repeat one principle here on the channel. Never spend everything you earn. Your social circle plays a big role in that too, both offline and online. If you constantly hang out with people who say things like, money is just paper, you can't take it with you, or let's live for today and worry about tomorrow later, it's only a matter of time before you start thinking the same way. Or if your friends constantly push you to spend, to go out, drink, buy things you don't need, you'll slowly destroy your financial progress without even noticing. Now, I'm not saying you should isolate yourself or only hang out with investors. What I mean is, be selective about the people you let influence you. Surround yourself with people who want to grow, who care about paying off debt, saving, and investing for the long term. This also applies to who you follow online. Digital marketing is designed to make you buy things impulsively. One click and you spent money. There's always a new life-changing product or get-rich-quick opportunity showing up on your feed. And as I always say, if something promises quick and easy money, you'll probably lose it just as fast. So, don't waste your time with that kind of content. And when it comes to social comparison, remember, every person lives a different reality. You can't compare your journey with someone else's. You don't know if the person you envy financed their car, got it from their parents, or saved for years to afford it. On the internet, you only see the surface, the photo at the beach, the sushi dinner, the new car. You don't see the credit card bills behind it. But there's one kind of comparison that can actually help you. When you see someone close to you saving, investing, or building something real, let that inspire you. Compete in a healthy way. Share ideas, encourage each other, and grow together financially. I know that's rare these days. Most people roll their eyes when you bring up saving or investing. They'll tell you to live a little or say you can't take money to the grave. But that's okay. This path is often walked alone. If you're on that journey, share your story down in the comments. You might inspire someone to start their own. And if you want to take the next step, I'll leave a video here on the screen about building an emergency fund. It's one of the most important steps toward financial peace. Thanks for watching until the end, and I'll see you in the next one. But before we wrap up this video, there's something deeper I want to leave you with. Because everything we've talked about, comparison, status, consumption, and money, all comes down to something even more important: discipline. And, above all, the power of not living for other people's opinions. Thought Balloon Expanded Reflection. Discipline and the power of not living for others. When you step out of the comparison game, what you're really doing is taking back control of your life. Most people don't spend because they need to. They spend because they're insecure. They buy things to prove something, to fit in, to look successful. But every time you do something just to be accepted, you give away a piece of your freedom. And freedom, whether financial, emotional, or mental, is what truly defines personal growth. Discipline, in that sense, is the muscle that holds freedom together. It's the ability to say no when everyone else says yes. To delay short-term pleasure in exchange for long-term peace, purpose, and growth. While the world runs on autopilot, chasing approval, the disciplined person learns to move in silence, building what really matters. They understand that real success isn't loud. Noise comes from appearances. Progress happens quietly. And here's the key point. Those who master themselves don't need to impress anyone. Those who have inner peace don't need external validation. That's why personal growth begins with something simple but powerful. Not caring about what other people think. Not out of arrogance, but out of awareness. Because living for approval is just another form of invisible slavery. The original text shows this perfectly through the lens of money. The person who buys an expensive car to show off lives in debt. The one who drives a used car and invests the rest lives in peace. But this logic goes far beyond money. It applies to everything: health, career, habits, goals. Being disciplined means accepting that for a while you'll look weird. You'll be criticized, called boring, stingy, too serious. But while others laugh now, you'll be planting the seeds of future freedom. Discipline is choosing today's discomfort for tomorrow's comfort. It's silencing your ego to listen to your purpose. It's building while others are distracted. And here's the irony. When you finally achieve stability, peace, and real results, the same people who laughed at you will admire you. But by then, you won't need their approval anymore. Because true success isn't about being applauded. It's about being at peace with your choices, your principles, and your path. Discipline and detachment from others' opinions are two sides of the same coin. One teaches you persistence. The other teaches you freedom. Together, they make you unstoppable. So next time you feel like proving something to someone, remember this. The time you spend trying to impress others is the same time you could be using to improve yourself. Don't live to appear successful. Live to become better.